Can I ask a little question?
Cooper's thinking about, I want to get into the property market.
Great players.
It would have been Rod Stewart.
You've got to turn over some of this roster.
My chafe got so bad. And welcome back. Hope you're having a great day.
How are you going, by the way?
Hey?
How you
What?
going? You look like you've sort of just dragged yourself through a sewer. What time did you get home last night?
Hang on a second, Billy Slater. Glass houses? Far out. What are you talking about?
Mate, I had all my fun in the house.
Yeah, but I was home 2 a.m. 2 a.m., which isn't that bad.
Not too bad.
Not
too actually, you look better than I thought you were going to look.
Thank you, I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Backhanded compliment.
Yeah, right.
Who we got today, Coops? Tell the people who we got.
So we've got a very good friend of ours, Chance Burns. Now, you're not going to have heard Chance's story before. Some people may have, but he dove into a pool when he was young and became a quadriplegic.
Mm-hmm.
But a really, really good, inspiring story. Something different than something we've done before.
Yep.
But it's a really good story and a lot of good lessons in it.
It's a great story. And the thing about it is, what you'll find amazing about this story is that growing up, Chance had horrific anxiety, and he'll talk about how the accident and the thing that he believed could be the worst possible thing could have happened to him, end up actually in a lot of ways saving him.
Yeah.
And just his outlook, he's got a superb outlook on life, and he's a great guy. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, he's very good. You two are very tight. You go down to the beach club quite because he is a quadriplegic, but he's actually he's gotten a lot more mobile, and
Yes.
he can actually walk around. He uses a stick now to walk around.
Yep. It's been a lot of hard work, and he's got himself to this stage, and he continues to improve. So he's a real inspiration for people who are enduring similar things.
Yeah. Well,
I reckon, Coops.
do you want to throw to it?
Let's do it. Chance Burns coming up. Chance, how you been, brother?
Mate, very well, thank you.
You been getting out in the water?
No, I've only done the one. I just go swimming, but I've done that one with Kai a couple of months ago.
And when you said Kai, we're going to let people know, going out in the water, you're in pretty safe hands. Is that your nephew, Kai Warner, is a professional surfer.
Yes.
So you're in good hands there.
Yeah, even though we got caught in the rip and nearly drowned. But yeah, he did a really good job.
How do you go out in the water?
Do
you have a special board?
Yeah, so I got a special board, and I just got little handles, some on my stomach. The funny thing is, I thought, I'll get right back into it, but and everyone says, I'll help you. But I don't enjoy it as much because I feel like I'm putting people out. And as much as they love it, I don't feel good about it. So I'd rather just do things I can do.
And I just went out to your car, and I went out to your car to grab your phone. You left it in there. I was going to ask you a question. How do you go at driving? Because I thought when I was going to go in there, it was going to be some sort of special futuristic car that was going to...
Yeah, I'm very lucky. Like when I went back for my license, I had to do an hour and a half test on my body and then an hour and a half drive, and they go, you can have your normal license back. So yeah, I can go through an airport and just get a hire car, which is, so it's quite surreal when I'm driving my daughter to school and I'm a quadriplegic and I'm like, wow, this is weird.
Yeah.
Chance, you what we're going to talk about here is the accident, but your amazing resilience, and we're going to talk how in an absurd way the accident actually in a lot of ways saved your life.
Yeah.
And you posted something recently on your anxiety and your battles, and you said the response has been unbelievable.
Yeah, it's been, it took me, with imposter syndrome, it took me 8 months. I've had that sitting there. And I posted and I've just got a huge response. And just talking about how I was living a double life most of my life, doing quite well and travelling the world for work. But I was running the whole time from anxiety, and I had so many phobias and fears, but I was just dodging everything, and I just keep myself really busy.
Yeah, right. Mate, it's funny, Chad, because already you've defied medical science. Were you told originally after the accident, and we'll talk about the accident in a second, that you wouldn't walk again? Yeah,
so because the odds are so low, it's we didn't know whether I'd get off the breathing tube because I'm a C4-5. That's your breathing, so my breathing's a lot lighter. But C4-5 keep you alive. It's your diaphragm. So we didn't even know that, and then I thought, well, we were hoping I'd even get a hand back just so I could get a bit of independence. So
So originally you couldn't use any part, any
nothing
limb.
at all. Yeah, completely paralysed from my neck down. And it was probably a month before that. Yeah, I got like my finger moved like 1 mil, and then I did a year and a half in hospital.
Yeah.
And then, so it was just a gradual thing, like things came back over a long period of time.
You talk about things coming back up because you use a walking stick now to get around.
Yep.
Is there a possibility where over more time you won't even need a stick? Like,
I feel it now. I think I train to maintain. I don't get things get easier, but it doesn't really change a lot. Now I'm just I just train every day to maintain what I've got. But with spasticity, when I bend my arms, if I try and move faster, it gives me more spasticity. So I always will stay sort of this because of spasticity slows me down.
yeah.
So, Chance, can you tell us all the circumstances and the events that led up to the accident and what occurred?
Yeah, so I came up to Sydney. I was living in Melbourne at the time, and I came up and we went to just dinner in Narrabeen, and we went back to a friend's house and we went for a swim. It was a hot night. My sister and her friend dove in, and I followed. And I actually don't know what happened because I've never asked. I didn't want to torture anyone by them having to relive it. And I also thought I couldn't change it, so there's no point. So whether I clipped a step or something, but I hit my head and it snapped my head to the side, and I passed out at the bottom of the pool. And then I came to, and I just remember I was floating, and it was so peaceful and dreamlike. But I could see my sister and her friend's legs, and then I must have blacked out again. And then I came to, and it was my sister screaming, "Chance, are you joking? Are you joking?" And then I was out again. And then I went through. My mum beat us to the hospital. So when I came out of the ambulance, she came out, and I said, when I was coming out, she just grabbed my hand, or she said, and I said, "Mum, I just saw my life flash before my eyes." So, and then, I was in and out of operations or something for a couple of days, and I woke up, and I just remember waking up and I was surrounded by like machines and tubes, and I just went to move and there was nothing, and I went to move my hand and my leg, and then I went to call out, and I couldn't talk either because I had a tracheotomy breathing tube. So then, like, panic, just set in. And then I think I passed out, and I came to again. I heard I knew it was my mum's voice. Must have been talking to a doctor, and it said, "Look, he's going to be in hospital for, at least 12 months, and he's a quadriplegic."
You just said that, like, you're in and out of consciousness from the moment you hit your head till the hospital. Do you remember? And you have these small flashes of memories.
Yeah.
Do you remember did you have any thoughts? Like, are you thinking anything during this moment? Were you scared?
No, I don't. I can't remember. I can't remember being scared. I know I was in a lot of pain. That's it was just.
Yeah, what was that like? What was the feeling?
It was. I can't really recall it. But as soon as after the operation, that's when my pain. Then I started. It was like the pain got a lot worse.
Yeah.
So that's sort of my last memory of pain was those early days after.
Chance, you said something before, and this I hear people say it all the time, and it really intrigues me. When you say, I saw my life just flash before my eyes. Can you tell me, what is that sensation?
It's really surreal because I think Mum said it to me, and I've tried to go back and think about it. I can't actually remember. I just know everything slowed down, and I don't know whether I saw my daughter or my future or in the past, but it was probably like that, when you get knocked out, sort of that.
Yeah.
That's like when I came to, and it was really peaceful and dreamlike, and it's sort of like I was in that, blacking out. So I can't really remember, but that's what she told me I said.
Okay. What did you think? What was your reaction when the doctor told you you're going to be quadriplegic?
Well, first it was panic because I'm like, this is all my fears. I was always running, trying to run. Like if I didn't like a situation, I'd leave. And I'm like, I can't run anymore. I'm stuck here. And I'm like, and I sort of welcomed the drugs to knock me out. It's like I didn't even want to know about it. I just would rather them just put me out so I didn't even have to think about it. It was too much.
So it was like almost another form of running.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. I wanted, it was like, it was all too much to deal with. And I'm like, what's my life going to be like? But that sort of unfolded over the,
Did you talk about the drugs then? Did you initially have like a problem with painkilling drugs? Like, was that something you were heavily relying on early? Like,
no, it's funny. I wouldn't take anything. I'd mask it with, I'd surf in the morning, then I'd work, and then I'd play tennis. I just kept myself busy, and then I'd go drinking with friends. And so I was just sort of like, I was like a hamster on a wheel. Like I just kept myself busy, but it wasn't probably drinking,
Yeah.
It would be, it just ended up being, if I was social and having fun, I wasn't feeling shit.
Yeah.
So but I was burning out because then I'm like, hungover, trying to sleep, go back to work and do it all again. So I was just sort of.
Okay, Chet, let's press pause on that at a moment, because what we're about to move into there, naturally, there's some of the most inspiring stuff that I've heard, and really interesting stuff around anxiety and the effects. But if we go back, growing up, and I imagine sometimes, Chance, it feels like you've had two lives.
Yeah.
So it must feel like, before accident, after. Where did you grow up?
I was in Mornington Peninsula.
Yep.
So down in Melbourne. And it was great. I'd sit there and go, in younger days, it was just all about sport. I just played a lot of sport. But then I think my teens, that's when the anxiety started kicking in.
What sport did you play growing up?
AFL.
You an AFL?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're obviously not AFL.
Yes.
I am a Melbourne Demons supporter, though.
Oh, there we go.
I am a D's man. Do you have any rugby league team?
Yeah, probably. Well, I came up, when I moved up, I was south. So I lived in Maroubra, so most of Maroubra are souths.
Yes.
Yeah.
The mighty bunnies, the Myrtle and Cardinal and Myrtle, I should say. Hey, surfing, Chance, massive part of your life?
Yeah, it was. I'd surf every day. Look, I worked with, I was with Hot Tuna back in the day, and then I was with Quicksilver for years. So I looked after surf shops all up and down the coast. I just surf every day.
So you said travelling around the world with Quicksilver and Hot Tuna?
No, then after that I went to fashion, and that's when we were doing sort of international brands overseas.
So your role with those big brands, what did you do for them?
So originally I was just I was sales rep for Quicksilver. So I just look after all the shops from here to Merimbula.
Yeah.
And then later on I ended up just we started designing our own brands, and also we'd get brands from overseas, bring them here, and vice versa.
Yeah, wow.
Mate, now family, I know your mum, Loz, and your dear sister, Tash. Other siblings, Chance?
Yeah, so Blaze, younger brothers, and Celeste. Yeah, so.
Okay. Now, you lost your father?
Yeah, he died when I was in hospital in America. So he passed away. I came back and saw him. We ended up in the same hospital. I got quite sick when I came back to visit him from America. I did 12 months here in hospital, and then 6 months in Georgia, in Atlanta.
Yep.
So I came back to see him when he was sick, and he passed away when I went back over.
Geez, mate, that's so much for the family to endure. Yourself and your dad.
Yeah, he was so sick, and it's funny, I don't know whether I've made it easier for myself but he was so sick he didn't want to be here, and so I'm like, do you know what, he's in a better place. So I didn't sort of think about what I was missing. I was thinking he's happier.
Yeah, I suppose that would have come at obviously you were dealing with your own, adversity at that time.
Yeah.
Was that sort of, was that a big motivation for you to get to where you are now at that stage, like when seeing your dad suffering with what he was suffering with?
Well, it's sort of, I wasn't, look, I was really close with my dad, but I grew up with my mum, so it was really hard. But I think my big motivation, like my daughter was 2.5 at the time, and I just wanted to be back with her. Like that was huge for me, missing her. Like I saw my dad, a couple of times a year, whereas my daughter was with me every day. So that's what I was missing the most.
Yeah.
And as I said, he was really sick, and he'd often say to me, I don't want to be here. So it was time.
Yeah. How long was he sick for?
I think it was about 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. What was it? What did
a lymphoma.
Okay. Yeah. And was he hospitalised for a long time with that?
No, he was great at the start. And so, once again, pre-injury. So, I got to spend a lot of time with him then. But when I got sick, he got quite sick. So it was sort of at the same time. So I also I was quite drugged for a long time. So it's probably a bit blurred for me as well. like, I remember that we ended up in the same hospital. He said, "Don't go near my nurses." So, and I'm like, he thought they were all his when I'm like, because happened to get sick when I came back. So, but yeah, like it was always up for a joke, and yeah, it was. We got to catch up a lot before my injury, so I think it was. I don't know. I felt like, yeah, it was sort of time for him.
Yeah.
And that's why he sort of sold it too.
Yeah.
So growing up, your anxiety, Chance, anxiety can something that can develop, and other times it can be an event that triggers it. Was in your case? What was it?
I think I was probably just a hypochondriac when I was younger, and then I just worried about everything. Like I couldn't watch the news. I wouldn't watch the news. I didn't want to see anything bad, anything. I'd worry about anything, and I used to say and then as I got older, I'd start going to the doctors and I'd worry. I'm like, I've got a lump in my leg. There's something wrong. And I'd go there and they go, no, that's fine. And I'd create something new by the time I got back to the car.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was like, phobias. I was like claustrophobic. I think I was an overachiever. I covered every phobia you can have.
Yeah, right.
Like it was just, my brain was just like, worrying about everything.
Where did that come from? Did you seek help?
I did, but I didn't really, I don't know. I think I just didn't focus on anything. I just wanted to keep running. So like you'd see someone, I'd go, oh yeah, but you didn't, I don't know. Back then you didn't really, I'm 49, so you didn't really you'd see a doctor and it wasn't really talked about. I don't know.
You're talking about it came in your teens. Was there something that happened with that? Or was it just you hit puberty and you started to change?
I think that's when it just got worse. I think I was always a worrier from from when I was young. Like, I worried about probably everything. And it's amazing how I can see it in other kids now, like they're, different personalities. But it's sort of, it's probably ways I'd treat it now by, acknowledging it more as opposed to keep running from it.
Mm.
Yeah.
So Chance, on your worst day, what is a typical day when the anxieties, when it really got a hold of you?
I remember I would be during the night. I was like, my heart was racing. And I'd be having a shower, like 2:00 in the morning. I'm jumping in the shower. Then I'd be going for a walk, and I was just panicking. And my thoughts. I just had so many thoughts. I was just like going, and I went to the doctor once, and I said, I think I'm going crazy. And he goes, the good thing is, if you think you're going crazy, you're not. And I'm like, that's great. So then I left there thinking I'm not going crazy and found something else to worry about.
It's like going to the doctor saying, I think I'm a hypochondriac.
Yeah, totally. My hypochondria is playing up.
But treatment-wise, how did you face that? Or was, like you were talking about earlier, was that just something you tried to run from the whole time?
Tried to run from, and they give you anti-anxiety, tablets, and I'd try those, and then I'd worry that they weren't good for me, or you worry about everything.
Yeah.
And then I'd say I wouldn't have those, and then I'd go again, like it got really bad, and I'd go on one for maybe a year, and I felt like it didn't really change me, but it did take the edge off, and I felt exactly the same. So I always go, like if someone asks me now. And once again, each to their own. Like some people can do it through sport, or everyone's different. But I wish I stayed on it back then and sort of got, instead of living, I just kept chopping and changing and just never.
Well, anxiety and depression now it's talked about. Like now it's so prevalent, but there's so much access and people can talk about it with their loved ones and stuff. But back then, 20 years ago, no one really spoke about it. And if you did speak about it, you probably internally, you felt judged and stuff.
People would mock, wouldn't they? Remember that back in the day, people would say, "Oh, I'm really struggling," and blokes are going, "Oh, feed income. What is this bloke?"
Go and have a beer, go for a run. It was quite simple, and I suppose we're probably all guilty of it. But I don't know. I think just trying to run from it is probably the easiest thing to do, but it's also the worst.
So Chance, running from it. You said surfing, exercise, getting on the sauce, getting on the piss, to dull the mind. I think there's a lot of people who relate to that, self-medication. But I suppose then you said the hamster wheel is that you get up the next day and it just perpetuates. It's and in fact gets worse.
Yeah, it did. And I think it's, I was saying before, I don't think it's one thing. I think I had to eat well, I had to exercise, I was sort of like building blocks. I had to do everything right to sort of try and get the best. So I couldn't just go, I'll go and speak to someone and that will cure it. you know, but being vulnerable is, you know, and finally opening up about it was huge, you know, being able to, you know, just to talk to someone about it and not to feel like it was a weakness. I always said, like, if I went into a bar with someone, you know, the stigma with it, and if I was standing beside, you know, I was talking to someone and I go, oh yeah, I broke my neck, and they're like, oh my God, did you break your neck? And if I'd said, oh yeah, I've got mental health, it's sort of a different tone.
Yeah, yes.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, it's so weird, like the difference.
Yeah, I like it. Gus Wallen, we had him on earlier in the year. He had a really, you know, mental health, physical health, but he treated it. His mentality with it is it should be called mental fitness. It's like your physical
100%.
fitness where you can train it, you get strong. You know, mental fitness is the same thing. If you work at it hard, like the more you work at it, the stronger your mind and stronger your thoughts kind of get. Do you feel the same way with that?
100%, 100%. Like I live the greatest life, you know, now, but and I had to work on it, and I'm like all those things that I'd never dealt with. I sort of now I'm like don't even you know think about.
Yeah.
When the accident happened, Chance, did you was there a little bit like you went, I knew it, like almost like I knew it. This was going to be my destiny. I knew something was going to happen.
It's funny, even though I was the ultimate, you know, concern about everything, I'm also an optimist with everything. So I was like, no, I'll just try and see what I can get back. I just wanted to, I was sort of like I was lying in bed going, oh, that's it. No, next year I'm going to run that city surf. And then I thought, actually, I've never wanted to run it before. Why would I want to run it now? So I'm like, maybe change it. So like it's sort of like, I just gave myself different goals. Yeah.
The initial recovery, how long were you in hospital for, Chance?
So I did 12 months. It was around about 12 months in Sydney. And then I went to Atlanta in Georgia for 6 months.
So why Georgia? Like, what was the reasoning behind going over there? The best doctors? Or?
No, so there's no, like everyone said, like there's no magic snake potion or anything. Like, you know, here back, you know, I know this is 11 years ago. That now there's like amazing places around Australia. There's one around the corner from you guys here in Sargood. There's amazing places everywhere now. Then there wasn't, and it was sort of like you know, I got a $30,000 wheelchair, and it was like that was going to be your life, because the likelihood of this is not great, and they can't give you false hope like you're going to get. So we just thought, you know, let's just try and get whatever we can. And their mentality over there is, you know, naturally, probably also with their health system, they can only go in hospital for 3 months, and they're trying to get them out. And I was sick as a dog. I couldn't have left.
Yeah.
So it's like you train like you're training for Olympics. When you got nothing, you train like you're training for Olympics and see what you can get. So like even when I went there after probably 11 months or whatever it was here, they said, oh, you're behind where you should be. Even being completely paralysed, you should be able to even just be able to do a few more things, because it's like you've got put in cotton wool here. Whereas once again, things have changed since then.
Yeah.
What were the Chance? What were the nights like in hospital?
Oh, that was the heaviest. As soon as like I could distract myself, and I was very lucky. My sister came in every day, and they had shifts. Like there was always someone with me, and they'd take me, you know, to training downstairs or anything. But as soon as everyone left, and I was just lying, I was just a head in a bed, and I just had completely paralysed, and I had a little button beside my head, and if I needed a nurse, I could just lean my head to the side, and so that was. I'm like, what is my life going to be like? You know, what, and am I going to be like, and I said to, quite a heavy thing, I probably said to my mum, I said, Mum, you know, I won't live like this. I don't want to be a burden on everyone. And she goes, Chance, all I ask for you is you give it everything for a year. And I said, okay, I'll do that. I'll give it, 2 years, I think it was. And I said, yep, I'll give it everything. And that was our agreement.
Wow.
Your first, you know, when you start to get hope, I suppose, what was your first mental win, whether it be physically or mentally, because like you said, you didn't want to live like that. You didn't want to be a burden on everyone else. When did you have your first physical win where you start to think, wow, I can really beat this?
There was just so many slow, long ones. Like the very first thing was probably, I think it might have been about a month or two, when I looked down and I said to my sister Natasha, I'm like, did my finger just move like a little bit? And she was squinting her eyes going, no, I don't think so. And then she goes, did, and she's jumping it down, going, so excited. And I'm like, don't get too excited, because I was already on to, I want another movement.
Yeah.
You know, so I and so what I'd do is I turned it into really small, achievable goals. So if I could move it once, I'd try and move it twice, or do the same or match it in everything I did. And then if another finger moved, then I'd start playing that game, and then just kept going.
Yeah. So what is like, because we've had sporting injuries I've had an ankle injury where you kind of have to slowly rehabilitate it, and you train the brain to repair those ligaments back together so it's your ankle's strong again. But when you say that, like you move your finger, is a lot of it you're connecting that brain to the receptors? Like what exactly is the scientific part behind that?
It's a very good question. They say that I was reading books like retraining neural pathways, and everyone said just you got to think about it, but I'd be thinking nonstop, and I'd pass out. Like I'd pass out a lot. But like if I was like, okay, I've got to move it twice, and I'd pass out. I couldn't. It was because the messages weren't getting through, and it was this weird thing that I could not connect.
So what blocks the message, like the brain messages? What is that?
So with my spinal cord, the doctors say probably only about 10 or 15% of my spinal cord's not damaged, and that's like my doctor. When I've gone, he said to me one day, he goes, "Oh, I think you wanted to tell 10 million." He goes, because the likelihood of doing what you do with your damage is. So I'm like, I'm not going to question it. I'll just take it.
Yeah.
I'm like. Yeah, I got very lucky with what I can do for the amount of damage.
Yeah.
Chance, some other things that you don't, which are minor things, well, minor in saying them. I imagine for you it was really awful. There's a young guy we've done a bit of stuff with up in Queensland, young Joseph, who had a spinal injury and. Joseph, he's only a young fella, but he's about 6'5", 6'6".
Yep.
Big kid. So the nurses really struggled to turn him over.
Yeah.
And the poor kid went and saw him, was covered in bed sores.
Yeah.
Like even just something like that for you, was that?
They're huge setbacks in those early days. Yeah. And people go, I started like you get on a treadmill and you get a harness and you start walking, they'll break their ankle, and then you're like, but to repair back from that compared to an able-bodied person. And then so they're huge setbacks that, I'm lucky I didn't have any of those. Mine was just slow burn, but yeah, there's all those kind of, bed sores are a huge thing because you're just lying there, like, you're just getting rolled to get changed and, to go to the bathroom during the night, you're just hitting a buzzer going like, you're getting rolled by the nurses. The nurses, 8 hours a day, look after you, amazing.
It was funny, talking to him at times. I'd almost see him sometimes, Chance, just forget about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He'd like forget for a second. I'd see him and he'd laugh at everyone. He'd be quite jovial, and then I'd see him, the mood change again.
Yeah.
Is that how it is a little bit, Chance? Were there times where inside itself, emotionally, you're feeling really good, and then like a realisation hits you? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's it's funny. Like I think most of the time I was quite upbeat for some reason. Probably around my family, like I'd have my dark moments. But yeah, I just sort of wanted to have, like I think it was all me. Humour was probably my saving grace. I just love having fun and a joke. So. Yeah. I just see everything in riddles from when I wake up in the morning. Like I wake up most days and forget I'm disabled. I'm like, gee, it's hard to walk. No, I think it's maybe stupidity is my strongest asset.
Yeah. How positive were you in that time? Because you are like, you take the piss out of yourself a lot now. We've had a beer with you and you're always taking the piss out of yourself. Back then, even when, you're having your darkest days, you're in hospital, you can't move. When nurses are coming in and you're cracking jokes, are you taking the piss out of yourself?
100%. Yeah, all it's done is giving me material.
Yeah.
And I needed it because I was lacking. But yeah, I think, do you know what? The nurses were great. That's what they were. They're rude and naughty, and do you know what? You just have jokes and laugh. And yeah, I think it was, I don't know. The way I saw it is I didn't take it too seriously. I thought it is what it is. I can't change it. So that's what it is.
There's a trait, I just thought of something there. I just want to quiz you on this. There's a trait that the boy's mother, my wife, Patricia, has, in the fact that right at and I think it's a female trait because it's very pragmatic. It's like the worst thing can happen, right? Honestly, the house could be on fire, and then she'll turn to me and go, did you unpack the dishwasher?
You know what I mean?
Were there times that your mum had come in and just like be fussing around and you're going, what the hell?
Oh, it was insane. Like my mum's, like she's so smart, but she's also eccentric. So I'd wake up and I'd have things stuck to my fingers, trying to, like cotton buds, and she'd tape things around me. She was trying to fix me. Like it was, and we'd just laugh because it was so ridiculous. But yeah, so like, she looked after, like, she took me to America and I'm lying in bed and she'd come in and just so fast and erratic, and she'd come in with like 10 tablets in the morning and I'm completely paralysed and just throw them in my mouth. And I'm like swallowing, and then I see her running back at me and she's got a hand in my mouth because she's given me all my nighttime sleeping tablets. And she's got a hand down my throat trying to get them out before I go to the gym. But it was just this craziness all day, so it kept me entertained.
Yeah. That just sparked a little question for me. Has anyone ever asked you something, whether it be they're not realising, you're quadriplegic, or they just forget, and then you have to kind of remind them, I'm quadriplegic, like I can't do that?
I suppose, like, and the only time I suppose I get it is if I park in a disabled spot, and I think they say, that people come past and they go, you're younger, and you go, like, and it's probably weird to bring this up because I'm like 99.99% of people are amazing, but every now and then you get someone get really angry with you, like, and a lady come past, she goes, you can't park there, and I said, I've got a sticker there. She goes, well, you can't park there. I said, I'm a quadriplegic. She goes, yeah, sure you are. and I'm like, and I just sort of put my hands up, like, well, like, because you can tell, like, my hands don't work properly. And she goes, if anything, you'd be a paraplegic. I said, what, you're giving me a diagnosis? But that's so rare. Like, like, I think friends will just ask, like, they don't have any filter, so, I tell stories, and they were going, can you get an erection? Like things. And I'm like, God, if I couldn't, that'd be a really embarrassing conversation. But what happened is I was cruising down the hallway in my wheelchair and I could only move one hand, and this arm still didn't move. And I had a catheter coming out from my penis, and I'm going past a guy in a wheelchair coming the other way and goes, having any wins? And I said, my leg actually worked today. And I moved my leg a little bit, but it pulled on the catheter. And the next minute I get an erection. So this is probably about 4 months later, and I was so embarrassed. I'm like, this is a great moment, but a really embarrassing moment at the same, because I can't even cover myself. And I'm like, okay then, and sort of just took off down the hallway.
Should have run outside and said, look at this.
So like, I think people, like, early days, I had friends ring and I was completely paralysed. Can you get it up? And I'm like, that's their first question. I'm like, that's a weird one. That's interesting.
You know what's funny? I've got a mate lives up in the Gold Coast. Same thing happened at his 18th birthday. Drove into a pool. And he's quadriplegic now, in a chair. He has a 24/7 carer. But he is the same as you, great sense of humour, takes piss out of himself. But because he's got a carer with him all the time, and he's just one of his mates is his carer. Yeah. So and he loves a drink, like loves a good time. So and he's on all the dating apps. Yeah. So he'll like pull a girl on the dating apps, and the girls will come around. But because he obviously can't move, like his carer will lay him on the bed.
No.
Carer lays him on the bed, and his big thing is obviously foreplay, because that's his thing. So the carer will be sort of in the room with him, and the girl will just kind of come in and just engage in foreplay with him, and the carer has to kind of sit there just in case he needs help being rolled over or anything like that.
So does the girl think you're going to say the carer puts him on top and he just puts his bot just pushes his bot up and down?
But because he's such a funny dude, and like he goes
with it.
Yeah, he just goes with it, and he just pulls so many girls because of his quick wit. Yeah, he's hilarious.
Oh, see, I would have been so shy, in the early days.
Hey, Chance, so you've fought a battle on two fronts.
Yep.
You've had the mental challenge with anxiety, and you've had the worst of of physical challenges with quadriplegia. What's worse?
Well, it's funny. I never want to take light of what I've gone through with it. Like, it's been horrendous, but I don't really think about it. But I remember the 20-something years of anxiety of running. That was harder, I think, personally. And I don't want to take away from other people who gone through being a quadriplegic, but to me that was harder. The mental game was harder.
in an absurd way, would you say that the accident in some ways may have saved your life?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting one. I'm like, well, it made me get the best out of myself. I will say that. Like, it changed, a lot of ways I looked at things and did things, and I slowed down. I wasn't running. I couldn't run anymore, so I slowed down. I dealt with things, and yeah, I do agree. I think I got a lot better out of myself since.
What changed in your perspective to life and like your mindset? What caused that change? Like, obviously the accident helped you face your fears, but what exact thing inside you, the perspective changed?
I think, look, I'd probably use gratitude. Like, it sounds like I now look at everything. Like, when I was in hospital, if my arm moved and someone else's didn't, I'm like, oh, I didn't want to show off and go, oh, mine's moving, because we're all moving at different places. But I think I just wake up every day going, look, I know there'll be so many people who'd want to be in my shoes. I don't sit there and think of the shoes I used to, be able to, all the things I used to be able to do. So, yeah, like I say, that gratitude is probably my biggest equalizer with those things. But I wouldn't want to go back to, like, I don't want to go back to either start. But, the anxiety, also age. I think, I wouldn't want to go back to the 20s. I think I was an idiot.
Yeah, it is as you get older. I think life gets better as you get older because you understand things more.
Totally.
You do actually understand yourself, and you're able to put certain things in perspective, which when you're younger you can't do.
Totally. I'd say 20s and 30s. Yeah, I think now I get my 40s. I get the best out of myself.
What about relationships, Chance? Did oftentimes you have friends or people that are there for the good times and sort of slowly disappear in the bad. Did it affect your relationships at all?
Oh, I think, like, I've never really looked at that. Someone asked me and go, oh, did, people leave you? And I thought, I never look at that. I suppose sometimes, you had friends that you were the person who calls more, and then I didn't because I was sick, and so you sort of drifted apart. That was just that, some people are callers, some people aren't. Like, I remember ringing a guy and I'm like, I was good mates with him. I've never heard from him in 5 years. And I rang him and he goes, oh, do you know it was my birthday? and we just chatted, and he never even mentioned about me being quadriplegic. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And like, good on him, like as I say, he doesn't have to fight my battle, so I thought it was quite funny.
Oh, Chance, mate, how you going, mate? Oh, I got this ingrown toenail, mate. I don't know how you're doing, but mate, your life now, like your daughter Twiggy, who's just a powerhouse.
Yeah.
How old's Twiggy now?
She's 14.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, she was 2.5, but like it was like she just wanted to care for me. It was amazing, and yeah, it was so cool. Like, I'd find her, like, even at 5, I'd find her in the laundry doing the laundry. Then I'd hop in the car to take her to school, and she'd put a coffee in, at 6 and 7. Don't worry, it's changed now.
Yeah.
Like, you're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was amazing. She just wanted to look after me, and I always thought, oh, if I had a boy, would I have been able to keep up? That's. So it was sort of, that's been my everything, and I suppose. It's made me be able to focus less on myself, and I go, I just want to give her a good life. And
you look at like kids, turning points in kids' life. I imagine when Twiggy's older and she, maybe she's doing a podcast and they're asking turning point in your life, like that would be a huge. I suppose it forced her to grow up a lot in terms of no kid at that age was probably doing the laundry, like you said, being proactive and getting their old man a coffee like that. That's a huge thing for a 7-8-year-old to be doing.
Yeah, she was like, and they say kids are so resilient. Like, she just thinks nothing of it. Like, she got on a podcast and she goes, oh, yeah. She goes, yeah, it's just, she doesn't even think I'm disabled. She just, she treats, like, she walks into the kitchen and dacks me, and thinks it's funny. And by the time I turn around, there's no one there. And I'm like, I'm so annoyed, but I find it funny at the same time. Like, she just treats me, like, I think friends were like, oh, what do I say to him? Like, when I go in, like, and I'm like, and I remember my mum goes, oh, people were scared to talk, didn't know what to say to you. And I'm like, I'm the same person. I've just broken my neck, whereas Twiggy, I was just the same person after 10 minutes.
Do you find that really, was that something that's hard when, people try to treat you differently initially after the action? Like, and you notice that?
Well, I think they didn't, like, I heard later on, like, they were like, I even, my mum said today, like, my uncle goes, he was building my house and I was thinking of something, and he goes, oh, couldn't have happened to a better person. And I'm like, oh, thanks. But he means just because of my attitude. He goes, you're a clown. You just make because all I did was joke about it all the time.
You're right. That doesn't come out right.
Yeah, I'm like, but he also, and Mum said this morning, she goes, he said, oh, I don't know if I'll be able to, speak with him. And she goes, oh, he's still the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Because that was his fear of, it's like, I think, if someone's, or had a stroke, and I'm like, it's my fear of going and speaking to them, putting them under pressure of if it's too much pressure for them talking to me. And I think we project.
Well, I suppose that's what people do. Like, I see it all the time when it's at a funeral or something like that. Someone close to someone's passed away, and you go up to them and you want to be lighthearted with someone. You don't want to treat them, but it could be your best mate, and the last thing your best mate wants is for you to come and go, mate, sorry, mate. Sorry, treat you different. The best thing you can do is go up and take the piss out.
But
of
it is hard. I remember once going to the hospital and seeing someone who, as an associate, wasn't close mate, and very, very sick, not well. And about to go into the nurse, so how's he going? She goes, oh, he's not good. He's not good. He's in a really bad frame of mind. Okay. I went, okay. She goes, when you go in there, it's best you don't say, how are you or how you going and like that. And I went, okay, no worries. So without thinking, I walked in the room and I sort of just looked at him and went, yeah, right. I didn't know. I didn't know how to start the conversation. Oh, God.
That's awesome. And I think I liked it. The more people were real with me, like it's just come in and do you know what? Like I'd have a joke about like I got out of work, and I think but it is hard. It's sort of what sometimes it's our fear of what they're going to, putting them under pressure.
Yeah. Hey, Chance, can I quickly ask you, sorry, inspiration for, like I know Dad's probably the same. I love listening to music. Like before a game, rugby league, I used to love listening to music to kind of a bit of inspiration. When you were going through your rehab process, was there whether it be a person, a movie, or a song, like was there something that you really looked at for inspiration?
Yeah, I only watch comedies. So I think I've watched every comedy, and I will just watch things on repeat and sort of. And I still do today, like even to sleep. Like if I can't sleep, because I get a lot of neuropathic pain, so I don't sleep that well. So I'll even put on things that are just mindless, like that Seinfeld. I would have watched maybe 3 million times over and over. I just watch it to go to sleep every night, or Arrested Development, or just anything that's humour. That was my thing. So that's what I'd just make them put on shows, just because I couldn't do anything. They'd set them up, a laptop in front of me before I went to bed every night, and I'd just fall asleep to watching humour. I just wanted to live in fun.
Yeah. You drew the line at Adam Sandler, though.
Yeah.
You went, life can't get any worse. Oh, hang on a second. Yes, it can.
Imagine that. It just rolls into Jack and Jill, and you nurse, please come and change it.
Totally.
Chance, now you're doing a lot of you're looking to do some motivational work, a lot of talks. When people go to hear you speak, what are they going to hear?
Well, hopefully, like, I try and get a message across. I think, the injury holds weight to some people, like, and going, oh, he's gone through that. But just to open people's mind to, mental health, and to say, look, these are the skill sets I've learned along the way to help deal with these things, from speaking with people to, it's endless amount. And once again, it's not the same for everyone, because we all suffer differently. So it's not a one-trick pony, but you can sort of I can guide them in, things that I've, researched and been taught.
Well, say I'm at a sporting team, a school. I imagine, schools and sporting teams and different sort of businesses would be interested. If they're looking to get you in to do talks, how would they go about finding you?
So I'm on Instagram or on my website. So
yeah. What's the website?
chanceburns.com.au.
Oh, that's original.
I got it.
Keep it simple.
No one else wanted it.
Mate, I know.
Cooper's is www.heman.com.au.
Is it?
Yeah.
I haven't. Hey, I wanted to ask you as well. Pain-wise,
yes.
Is there a lot of people in your position? What's the medicine routine like now? Like in the modern day now, after.
It's still I think a juggling act for a lot of people. Like I get, so from my elbows down, it's like my hands are on a grill getting burnt off. Like, and I used to look down to see if my skin was melting off.
Yeah.
But I get that down my legs and in my groin and stuff, and it goes, depending on whether it can be worse. And, I used to be on, a bunch of different drugs, and I've tried, but I got to the stage where, I was in pain with all of them, but I could just look at a wall. I sort of doped out the whole time. So I'm like, now I'd just rather, I'll just have nothing. And when it's bad, I might not sleep for 2 nights straight. And I'll watch a lot of movies and walk around the house and do things. But I feel like I can manage it better. And I'm like, at least I'm not dopey for Twiggy the rest of the time, like by just having so much drugs. So I haven't found something that really works yet. Yeah. If it, it used to be, I used to have a couple of drinks if it was really bad and think if that would help. But yeah, I feel like nothing does. It's
I can get you some of Trisha's speed if you want.
Oh, okay.
Or some of her meth.
Yeah. Or Uncle Joey's medicinal marijuana.
Yeah.
You're going to get on some
Have
of
you
that.
tried that? Have you had a crack at the medicinal marijuana?
Yeah, I tried it originally, and I didn't notice any different, and then I tried, the one with the THC in it, which I felt like, it gave me a mental break for a little bit, but it didn't give me a pain break. If anything, it heightened, because, you can heighten, your pain. So yeah, it was sort of like, it sort of gave me a little bit of a break just for like an hour or two mentally, like from my pain. But then the rest of the night it was probably more intense.
Yeah, right.
So yeah.
Yeah. Can I quickly just? Is there any pranks you've ever pulled on anyone? Obviously, like you spoke about the material that it's opened up for you to take the piss out of others and yourself. It's untapped. There's so much you can go into. Have you ever pulled a prank on someone?
No. Well, I used to do it. My mate Mike Rolls, and he's got 2 prosthetics, and he plays golf off like 1 or 2. He's a freak.
Yeah.
But we used to do skits together. But like I remember, like the first time I could put on socks, and because I had we had some fashion stores, and I went in there once to show off to the girls that after 4 years I put on socks one day, and I walk in and he's standing there, and I'm like, he's just ruined my story. Like I can't show off about putting socks on, he doesn't have feet. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's sort of like it is endless. I think probably daily there's something ridiculous. I think mainly with Twiggy, she probably gets. She doesn't find them funny though.
Yeah.
Wasted.
Should we do a menu of questions?
Yeah, go on.
Do you like that?
Yeah, go on.
If you could be one athlete of all time, I know you're an AFL man, who would it be?
Oh, yeah, at the moment could be Kerno or probably a Slater, Kelly Slater.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Or Charlie Kerno? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that your team?
Yeah, Carlton.
Carlton Blues.
Yeah, and he's just, I've known friends who know him, they say he's probably just one of the nicest guys ever, and I like his skills are just insane. So
Jeez,
I'm like,
Carlton, you really have had some bad luck in your life.
we have. We're having a good year.
Good year. I think they're second.
We're second.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's been a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember growing up watching
been a long time.
watching Wide World of Sports. It was almost like there were 2 certainties.
Yeah.
They showed the AFL Grand Final. It was almost always Collingwood Carlton.
Yeah.
And when they showed the All Ireland Final in the hurling, it was always Tipperary versus Kilkenny.
All right. What about your favourite song of all time, Chance?
Oh, do you know what? It's probably Rasputin at the moment.
Boney M.
Yeah.
Boney M. Wow.
Yeah. I think I
Yeah.
played it at your party.
Yeah, we
did.
You did. Yeah.
It was. I think it just gets. I don't know why. And I heard they were just out here recently, which I wish I went and saw. It just gets you going. So I've been rocking that in the car.
Yeah. How do you go at party? Because I remember you at that party. You were obviously you had your walking stick and you were just sort of bopping along in the back corner. How do you go at parties when everyone's up dancing and that? How do you go?
Oh well, do you know what? I always think if I got invited to a wedding now, and I went up on the to go for a dance, people go, oh, that's so cute. Whereas before they would have gone, he has no rhythm, get off. So I think nearly it's a positive now. But yeah, it is awkward. I went to a going away on Sunday, but after I was there for probably an hour and something, but I lose my voice because I can't project from my belly. So by the end, I was sort of talking like this. So I sort of left home, went home.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I don't know. I just love it. I just think, I don't even think about what I can't do. I just think, oh, this is fun.
Yeah. What about your favourite movie of all time?
Superbad.
Oh, how good. That got Jack out of his seat. I watched it again the other night. Just like, mate, it actually gets better every time you watch it.
100%. It is gold.
It's one of the most quotable movies. Like, there's
Yes.
just, you forget. There's so many quotes in it that every time you rewatch it, there's something you didn't even notice.
Oh,
Like, I love the guy who, when McLovin gets arrested and Jonah Hill and Michael Cera are out the front discussing how they're going to get alcohol, and the guy that reverses over Jonah Hill, he goes, "I didn't even effing see you, man."
Come on, dude.
famous in other movies, actually. Isn't
He's
he?
done
Yeah.
he's done a heap of stuff. He's doing a big TV show.
You got
as
to do
well,
the
I think.
song. Got to do the song again, where the guys at the party and they're all coked up. Those
Oh,
fellas.
that with Michael Cera singing. The most awkward moment ever. Like,
Oh, yeah, you're Jimmy's cousin, the singer. It is so funny.
it's champagne comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, that was Jack from the depths. There, listeners.
He was.
Jack forgot we
From
were
the cheap
recording.
seats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question for you, Chance. This is. I mean, I don't know how this one's going to go down.
I know what this is.
Would you rather be dropped in the middle of the desert or in the middle of the ocean?
Oh, I'd go ocean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, it's actually a weird one when I can't really swim.
Yeah.
I think, I just hate, also, so not all quadriplegics, but I don't sweat a lot below my injury. So you overheat, so you can't acclimatise. So when you don't sweat, you can't cool down.
What? Because your body can't thermoregulate or something?
Yeah,
Like-
it just doesn't. It hasn't. Yeah, so I don't feel I don't feel temperature from my neck down, like hot or cold. So I can burn myself. But yeah, and I don't feel sharp. So you can run your finger down me, and I can feel that if I close my eyes. But you can run a knife and cut me open, and I can't feel it.
That'd be good, mate. That could be quite badass. Go to a bar, but you just have a smoke and then just get
Party
put it down
tricks,
your arm.
exactly.
Can I do it? Can I do
Throw
it
knives at me. I told Twiggy I'm a superhero.
Chance, that was awesome, mate. Really appreciate your time. Just one more time for people that are going to look out, going to reach out to you for a talk or anything.
Chance Burns at chanceburns.com.au
Okay, and Instagram as well.
Yeah,
There you
Chance
go.
Burns.
is Chance Burns.
Yeah.
There we go.
So if anyone from Carlton Blues is watching,
Yeah,
get Chance down there.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Send him a Guernsey, you cheap bastards. Good on you, Kurt.
Thank you so
Skanks.
much.
Good on you,
Thanks, Chance. Thanks for coming
guys.
on.